Good evening. With the Ghana Learning Channel's News and Capsule for Tuesday, November 16, 2021, I am Kingsley Bryan. Here's a look at some of the top stories we will be covering this evening. We'll tell you, President meets Mount Sinai Health Team. Their talks focus on the modernization of Ghana's healthcare system. Ghana-Brazil crossing reopens. The Takatu Bridge opens from Mondays to Fridays. Then, Foreign Minister holds talks with NASA to discuss several trade-related matters. And in news from the region, we'll tell you that EU and CARICOM team up on climate fight. EU CARI Forum strengthening climate-resilient health systems. And on the international scene, Pfizer is expected to allow developing nations to make their pills. Poorer nations to also benefit from the sale of the COVID-19 pill. Now for the news in detail. His Excellency Dr. Irfan Ali met with an executive team from the renowned New York-based Mount Sinai Health System on Monday at the Artichoke Convention Center. President Ali was joined by Vice President Dr. Barra Jagdeo and Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony. The discussions centered on the modernization of Guyana's healthcare system. The visiting delegation included Mount Sinai International President Cezabals Dorotovics, Senior Vice President of Medical Affairs Richard Amirayan, Executive Vice President Arthur Klein, and Manager Amar Danraj. After the meeting, Dr. Klein said that healthcare would be key as Guyana continues to develop. Open quote, "One of the most sophisticated investments the country needs to make in its people is healthcare. And we are here to work with the President in defining a plan in development of more sophisticated healthcare. Also, healthcare access improvement. What can we do not only in Georgetown, but in the rest of the country?" End of quote. The Executive Vice President noted that both parties were enthusiastic about the collaboration. In New York, the hospital network is structured around 8 hospital campuses and included more than 6,600 primary and specialty care physicians and 13 ambulatory surgical centers. Also, with the Ghana-Brazil crossing at the Takatu Bridge in Lethem Region 9 opened from Mondays to Fridays, fully vaccinated people are allowed to travel into Ghana once they present a negative test result from a PCR or antigen COVID-19 test. This is according to the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, who spoke during his daily COVID-19 update on Tuesday. For context, those individuals who've received both doses of a double-dose COVID-19 vaccine or the single Johnson & Johnson vaccine are considered fully vaccinated. And Dr. Anthony reminded members of the public that this is in keeping with the directives of the updated COVID-19 emergency measures published in the official Gazette. According to those measures, travelers are required to be fully vaccinated and must present either a COVID-19 test for entry into Guyana. The announcement that the Ghana-Brazil crossing would be operational from Mondays to Fridays was made on Monday through a notice from the Director of the National COVID-19 Task Force, Colonel Nazrul Hussain. The notice, which is dated November 15, states that the decision to open the Lethem crossing on every weekday takes immediate effect. Previously, permission was granted for opening of the crossing on Fridays to accommodate the movement of people for any purpose. That added to the pre-existing arrangement between the two countries that allowed for essential goods and supplies to be brought into Guyana only on Thursdays. It is unclear whether flights to and from Brazil will be allowed to resume now that there is an even further relaxation of the travel restrictions between the two countries. Meanwhile, the Honorable Hugh Todd, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, in his capacity as chair of the National Advisory Committee on External Negotiations, NASAN, on Monday hosted a virtual meeting of the committee to discuss several trade-related matters. In his remarks to NASAN, the foreign minister referred to the efficacy of the trade with Ghana's Caribbean neighbors and recalled Ghana's role as a founding member of the Caribbean community. In this regard, Minister Todd further noted that Guyana is assumed in leading the agricultural agenda at the level of CARICOM and outlined President Ali's vision to revitalize agriculture in the Caribbean. The Honorable Minister also underscored the ministry's readiness to support the private sector in becoming familiar with trade agreements that Guyana signed onto and urged members to continue to engage the ministry for clarity and assistance as necessary. The NASEN is a platform for engagement between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and international cooperation and representatives of the private sector, civil society, and academia on matters relating to the crafting, development, and execution of the country's national trade policies. And in the world of sports, the host nations for every major ICC men's limited overs event between 2024 and 2031 have been confirmed. In June 2024, the ICC Men's T20 World Cup will go somewhere it has never been before, with the USA hosting the event alongside the Caribbean, which staged the tournament back in 2010. In 2026, India and Sri Lanka will host the Men's T20 World Cup, before another first-time major event host in 2027. In 2030, England will share T20 World Cup hosting duties with Ireland and Scotland. It will be the first time since 1999 that Ireland and Scotland have hosted a major global cricket event. The final scheduled event in October-November 2031 will be the Men's Cricket World Cup, played in India and Bangladesh. And that story was extracted and modified from the newsroom. And in news from the region, international, regional, and government leaders announced the launch of a broad-based project to support actions to mitigate climate change and its serious health impacts in Caribbean nations. The EU CARIFORUM Strengthening Climate Resilient Health Systems Project, a joint project of the European Union and CARICOM that PAHO is coordinating, will advance public understanding of climate change effects and strengthen the ability of health systems to respond to climate-related health impacts. Open quote, "We are at a crucial point in time in the Americas when we must increase our solidarity and intergovernmental collaboration to address climate issues, which are arguably the health challenges of the century." End of quote. That is according to PAHO Director, Dr. Carissa F. Etienne. The Americas must embrace mechanisms for countries to come together around climate change, Dr. Etienne further added. She said the EU CARIFORUM Climate Change and Health Project will also assist regional nations in accessing funding for coping with climate change. The virtual meeting was attended by leading representatives of government and organizations that are partners in the £6.8 million project, including Etienne, Secretary General of CARICOM, Orrin Loak, Dominica's Health Minister, Dr. Orwin McIntyre, and head of delegation of the EU to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean states, Malgorzata Wasiluska. Partners in the project also include Caribbean universities and regional climate, public health, and agricultural agencies and organizations. The beneficiary countries are Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Cuba, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Grenada, Guyana, Haiti, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago. And that story was extracted and modified from the Loop Caribbean News. And on the international scene, U.S. drug company Pfizer has penned a deal to allow its experimental COVID-19 treatment pill to be made and sold in 95 developing nations. The deal with the UN-backed Medicines Patent Pool, not-for-profit, could make the treatment available to 53% of the world's population. But it excludes several countries that have had large COVID-19 outbreaks, including Brazil. Pfizer says the pill lessens the risk of severe disease in vulnerable adults. In a statement on Tuesday, Pfizer said the agreement will allow local medicine manufacturers to produce the pill, with the goal of facilitating greater access to the global population. Pfizer will not receive royalties on sales in lower-income countries, and said it would waive royalties in all nations included in the agreement while COVID remains a World Health Organization designated public health emergency. In early November, Pfizer said clinical trials suggest that its COVID-19 pill, Paxlovid, cuts the risk of hospital admission or death by 89% for high-risk adult patients. Charles Gore, director of the Medicines Patent Pool, said in a statement the license was important as, open quote, "This oral drug is particularly well suited for low and middle income countries and could play a critical role in saving lives," end of quote. And that story was extracted and modified from CNN. And that's our news broadcast for Tuesday, November 16, 2021. Please join us for a rebroadcast tomorrow morning. On behalf of myself and technical teams, thanks for watching. Please stay tuned to our regular programming and remember to observe all the necessary precautionary methods to fight off COVID-19. Also, get vaccinated. It's the only known way to fight off the virus. Have a safe evening.